Welcome to Up and In, the show that throws high heat and never backs down. Hosted by the one and only I Black Elmore and the king of cut fastball takes, Chris Hackney. This is Up and In. Welcome, and we appreciate you guys being here. Like I said, Up and In, baby. And as with me, as always, is Chris Hackney. Hack, how are you doing today, my friend? Welcome to the show on this beautiful Sunday.
I'm doing great. It was my baby Sadie's first birthday this weekend, so we celebrated her birthday this weekend, and now I'm ready to talk some baseball. Can't beat that. Got these circles. Look at that. Look at that.
I know, right? Like a baseball. It's a circle. What's that movie where it's like the tree? It's a circle. No, hey, welcome to Up and In. We appreciate everybody joining us. We got a jam-packed show today. We got some new features coming through. We got the ticker on the bottom with up-to-date scores. Hack and I are going to be doing a deep dive into a lot of news, recapping the week. We're going to dive into the NL East a little bit, talk about the Mets, the Phillies, and all the other teams, the rest of the teams in the division. Hack, we got a jam-packed show, so let's jump right into it. And of course, we got to show the love, Gene. Thank you for the birthday wishes to Hack's daughter. We're going to start off right away with Altuve. Altuve asked, and this is kind of a funny story to me. He straight up asked to be moved out of the leadoff spot. He's been there his entire career, and his reasoning is what gets me laughing. His reasoning is that he needs more time to get ready to bat from left field. I get the run is longer. But what do you think about this? Is this just his age? Is this just like a veteran thing where he feels like he can pull this move, or is there something, or is this just there's nothing to it?
I mean, I think it's a story, because you're gonna make a story out of it, but I don't think there's nothing there. I think Altuve's been one of the Astros that's actually been performing. So if he feels more comfortable at 2 or 3. Do what your stars want. Look, I'm a Phillies fan, and our stars run the clubhouse. So I'm all right with players running the clubhouse.
Well, hey, he has 4 hits in the 5 games since making the move to second. Jeremy Pena slid right into the leadoff spot nicely. He's got 9 hits over the 5 games since making that move. And not to mention, the Astros are 4-2 over the 6 in the 6 games. They did lose today, so make them 4-3. So like I said, this move is a permanent move. Will it become, like I said, a home? Will it change, whether they're home or away, or depending what side of the field their dugout is on? Who knows? We might see Altuve back in the leadoff spot. But it comes to mind like Ian Happ. He's the leadoff hitter for the Cubs. He plays left field. I don't hear him complaining. He said, I get, as someone who plays slow pitch softball, I'm a 34-year-old man. Sometimes when I lead off running from left field into the dugout, I am winded. Like, I get it. I totally get it. But I'm also in terrible beer league shape. This guy is in the, peak physical conditioning. So to me, it just seems a little funky. I mean, the best place for him on the team is in that leadoff spot. So I feel like
you only lead off one time. Let's be real. You only lead off the first time. After that, it is what it is. I think it's not a big deal. If that makes him feel more comfortable, that's what you do for your stars.
I guess, but it's like 50-50. Half the games are at home, half the games are on the road. I could see them making hey, maybe at home I don't bat first. On the road I do. I'm not sure what you kind of do with it. But since they have made the move, Pena's batting average has jumped up. Altuve is still kind of getting used to his new role in that 2-hole, and the Astros are rolling right now. So we're gonna move on from the Astros though and jump to some more telling news about Pete Rose. Obviously, he passed away this last year. He was banned he had a lifetime ban from Major League Baseball for betting on his own team to win games when he played for and managed the Cincinnati Reds. Since his passing, there's been a lot of talk and petition formed to get him off of that lifetime ban list, including Donald Trump, or President Donald Trump, also acknowledging it and thinking that he should be allowed into the Hall of Fame. There's a lot of people that says that Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, is going to kind of push this off until he's no longer in office in 2020, season of 2029, Do you think this is something we're going to see a resolution to soon? Do you think something will change as far as his status? Does him passing away change that lifetime ban now that he's no longer with us? Does that change some people's opinions? Hack, where do you stand with this? Hack, you with me? Looks like we might have lost Hack briefly, really quick. But I mean, he's a 17-time All-Star. He played. He's a player and a coach. He had 4,256 hits, which is by far the most in professional baseball. He received his ban in 1989. Like I said, it's a lifetime ban. Now that he has moved on and passed on from this life, should he be allowed to make the Hall of Fame? Put in the chat what you feel like. Tony already did kind of say how he feels about the situation. I definitely do agree. I mean, he wasn't on steroids. He was gambling. His capabilities on the field, what he was able to accomplish, especially having over 4,000 hits in his career, I think he definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I do think, though, this is going to get kind of pushed out until Rob Manfred is out of office and someone else takes over that is more willing to kind of deal with the situation. I don't know if he wants to be the commissioner that puts Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. I don't know if he quite wants to be known like that. So we lost Hack there. They say he'll be back as soon as he can. Hack, what's up, buddy? You back with us? Hack, you with us? You with us, buddy?
Man, this is...
You right? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I think so.
You think so? You think you can hear me? All right, hey, that's okay. While we kind of figure out the technical difficulties, we're going to keep this ball rolling. We're going to wait to talk about the Phillies honoring the Hall of Famers who all batted 400 in 1894 until Hack is completely back with us. Hack, when you're back with us, if you can hear me, just shout and interrupt me. Then we got Brandon Nimmo. He matches Mets record with 9 RBIs this week. Austin Wells in New York, the New York Yankees catcher. He gets a signature burrito. How does a catcher get a signature burrito, you may ask? Well, actually, on his Instagram and his social media, he actually has a burrito review show that he does for every city that he travels to with the Yankees. He has Detroit, he's got Pittsburgh, he's got Chicago on the list. So the Yankees were like, hey, you know what? Let's have your own signature burrito in the stadium. What they did was they had a competition between 3 different burritos. He chose the one, and it's called the Wells Favorito. And what's in it is scrambled eggs, breakfast sausage, maple city fries, whatever the heck that is, cheddar jack cheese, and chipotle aioli. Would you eat this at a Yankees game? I don't know. That chipotle aioli kind of throws me off. Hack, welcome back. What do you think about this burrito business, though?
Nah, who wants to eat eggs at 95-degree temperatures? Like, leave your breakfast burrito at 9 a.m. Wells. Like, I mean, what? Listen, I'm gonna skip that. I'm gonna skip this question, and I'm gonna go back to Pete Rose.
All right, we'll bounce back for you. No worries.
As a player, and I've heard all the arguments against Pete Rose and the man that he is. Without going too deeply into it, we have Ty Cobb in the Hall of Fame. If we start splitting hairs on, like, is the Hall of Fame the Hall of Morals, there's going to be a lot of players that get kicked out of the Hall of Fame and never make the Hall of Fame. And I want Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame because he has the hits leader. I want Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame because he's the home run champ. It is what it is. Do they have asterisks next to their names? No. So, put them in the Hall of Fame. And there's plenty of Hall of Fame players that we accept were scumbags off the field. But on the field, they were ballers.
No, you're absolutely right. Like we were talking about when we lost there for a second, I feel like he should be there. He has too much impact on the game. Even since his lifetime ban, the impact he has, like he was on Baseball Tonight all the time. He's constantly talking about the game and like things, he's like helping explain to the next generation what the differences are. He was such a huge name even after his lifetime ban. I feel like you have to include him in the Hall of Fame to have that big of a record, especially be hits one of the focal points of the game, have that record and not be in the Hall of Fame. I think, once he passes away, he never got to see himself be, enshrined in the Hall of Fame. I think that's a big enough punishment. There's no reason to, here in 15, 20 years, people aren't going to really know, not 15, 20, here in 50 to 60 years, people aren't going to know who Pete Rose was. People who saw him play aren't going to be alive anymore. And so he needs to be put in the Hall of Fame in order, to be able to pass down what he did on the field to future generations. So I feel like that would be a great move. But Hack, we did jump through the Wells Favorito burrito. I love your point. Who wants to eat a breakfast burrito in 95-degree heat in the mugginess of New York City in the middle of August? I know I don't. So that's a great call there. We're going to keep, like I said, we're going to keep this ball rolling over to Riley Green making history. Riley Green for the Detroit Tigers hit 2 ninth-inning home runs. He led off the inning with a solo shot and then finished it up with a 3-run shot later in the inning as they destroyed the Angels on Tuesday night. Hack, is this impressive? 2 home runs in the ninth inning. Obviously, it's never been done before. We've had a couple things, really big home run milestones happen recently. We had the 4 home run game last week. We got Riley Green hitting 2 home runs in the ninth, some really big milestones. Is it impressive? Is it more impressive that he hit 2 home runs, or is it more like Angels, you let him bat twice in an inning because you guys' defense and pitching was playing so bad that it's not really that big of a deal? Just because it was the ninth inning, it's kind of why people are making it a thing.
I mean, honestly, baseball's been played for over 100 years. So anytime there's a first, I am in maybe not awe. That's the wrong word. Awe is not, but okay, tip of the cap. You did something that there's a lot of innings. You take 100 years of baseball games and add up all those innings. It's a lot of innings. It's impressive, but it's not it's not something like a record that should be celebrated in terms of the hit streak or the Iron Man record or stolen base record like that. But it is a neat bit of trivia. Yeah,
no, I definitely agree with you. Like I say, 2 home runs. The Tigers end up scoring 8 runs in that inning against the Angels, coming out with the win. Tyler Glasnow is now on the injured list. Will be shut down for at least the next 2 weeks. He threw 1 inning in his last start before being pulled. He joins Blake Snell also on the IL for the Dodgers. The Dodgers starting rotation is just not in sync right now. They can't seem to get consecutive great starts. The only consistent pitchers that are actually able to stay healthy is Yamamoto and Sasaki. And Sasaki just finally got his first win. Obviously, the Dodgers offense is fantastic. It is what it is. But should the Dodgers be worried about the long-term health of the pitching staff?
I mean, isn't this what the Dodgers do every year with their pitchers?
It seems like it.
You're as a Giants fan, you can attest to when in the last 5 years have the Dodgers gone through their pitchers healthy. That's why, every week we talk about, Tony Gosselin just made his first start since, I think it was 2023, if I'm correct. So, they have these stud pitchers that get hurt for years. They get Tommy John surgery and they come back. It's not what they thought they were going to have, but really soon, in 2 weeks, I think their rotation is going to be Yamamoto, Suzuki, Kershaw, Gosling, and Dustin May. And that's with Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, and I'm forgetting the third pitcher that's hurt right now. But you have 2 Cy Young winners hurt. It's the Dodger way. Pitchers get to LA and they get hurt. I don't know what's in the water out there, but they just can't keep them healthy. That's why they sign 7 of them a year.
I can't argue with that. Like I said, the rest of the division is relishing in the injury bug that the Dodgers are suffering from, as they are keeping the division close early in the season. Speaking of an injury that's not on our Around the Horn segment right now is obviously Mike Trout. He's being shut down for a little bit, re-injured his left knee on Wednesday. It's the same knee that he had 2 surgeries on last season. Obviously, he said he ran through first base. It looked a little funky when he hit the bag. He did go out and play 1 inning of defense before he was replaced defensively. Is this just another thing to feel bad for Mike Trout about, or are we hoping? And he says he feels better already. He said yesterday in the press he feels better. He hopes to be back soon. He said the same thing last year after his first surgery. Do we believe him, or do we think this is just him kind of trying to calm down the fan base?
I definitely don't believe him. And I was talking to somebody earlier today about him. The problem is he's not getting hurt on defense. Like, and I don't want to say you don't exert max effort on offense, but the last couple of years, he's gotten hurt swinging the bat and running the bases. Like, you moved the right field this year to take stress off of your body, and you can't do the things. He got hurt running the first, like not stretching a double, not stretching 2 into 3. He got hurt running the first base on a base hit. Like, I don't know. I don't want it to happen because we just had to talk about can he get 500 home runs. It's your body's failing you. And another point I made was I'm glad he never came to Philadelphia because he would have been booed because of being hurt constantly. Like, I'm glad that he's in a city that just appreciates Mike Trout for Mike Trout and is happy for the 30, 40 games they get him every year.
Well, as a baseball fan, I do hope that you're wrong. I do want to see him back in the game. Obviously, it's entertaining, keeps the Angels relevant, it gives the Angels a chance. Every time he's in the lineup, they have a chance to win the game. Obviously, he has been out the last couple of games. We'll see when he comes back. Hopefully, by this time next week, we have a better picture of what kind of it looks like. But heck, we're going to jump backwards really quick before we talk about McCullers' first start since 2022 and the unfortunate incident that happened in Pittsburgh. We want to talk about the Phillies in the upper right-hand corner, or what I like to call it, the right field of around the horn. Phillies to honor the Hall of Famers who all batted 400 in 1894. I asked you to do a little research on this. What did you find out about 1894 as we were not alive at this time?
I mean, we're talking about the dead ball era right here. It's so long ago. They did not put uniforms. They can't they did not put numbers on uniforms. They cannot retire these men's uniforms. They're their numbers because there were no numbers. It's hard to find a lot of details because we are going back over 100 years, but they all batted over 400. There wasn't much power to this lineup, but they all made contact. They batted between 408 and 402. The highest, of course, being the 408 hitter. It's impressive. But I also admit, as much as it stinks to admit for my Phillies, it's an outdated stat because it's so old that we just can't comprehend 3 outfielders batting 400. I mean, right now the Phillies would be happy to have an outfielder batting 300.
It's actually really funny you said something. What was it? This was so long ago that they didn't retire these players' numbers because they didn't wear numbers back when they played. So what was it? They retired their symbols on their jersey. I'm not sure.
Yeah. And I tried to find the symbol. I could not find. It's just a number at the back of it. I really don't know what they're retiring.
Supposedly, they're going to be adding it to Citizens Bank Park somewhere, so it'll be visible. Whatever the logo is that they had on their jerseys will be in the stadium. So next time you go to a game, take a look around. We'll have to see what it's like. Take a picture of it, and we can let everybody know. But I think it's a crazy stat, man. Having 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 players all in your outfield batting over 400. That's absolutely insane. That's something that that's like slow pitch softball type numbers. And it's all done during the dead ball era, which is absolutely even crazier, I think. But anything else as far as before we get into the most important probably news of the week about the Pittsburgh Pirates fan? Anything else you kind of want to say about any of the other topics before we kind of bounce out? I know we lost you for a couple seconds there while we covered a couple of the items.
I mean, I'm always going to gloss over the McCullers making the first start since 22 for the Astros. We should always talk about the future AL West champs. I know that the chat doesn't like that all the time, but haters going to hate, and the Astros are going to Astros, so it's good to see them back. And it's nice to see him back throwing. So that's good. I love to see 2 Astros in the starting 9.
Yeah, no, McCullers, he last pitched in Game 3 of the 2022 World Series against your Phillies. He's recovering from a 2023 flexor tendon surgery. He did try to come back last year after a couple outings in lower A ball. He did have some minor irritation. They ended up shutting him down for the rest of the season, having to do more recovery time, and finally made his return today. He went three and 2/3 innings pitched. He allowed 3 hits, 3 walks, 4 Ks, did 87 pitches. Like I said, his stuff wasn't as crisp as we're used to, but again, first game back against major league hitters in almost 2.5 years. I think he had a pretty good showing. I think next time out, they'd like to see him keep his pitch count down a little lower, have him go a little deeper in the game. But 87 pitches for his first time back is not too shabby. So he definitely made. They ended up losing, of course, but he did look good. He had moments of, that's exactly who the Astros need in their starting rotation. But again, the last and final thing we want to talk about the Pirates. Last time we mentioned the Roberto Clemente wall. It was about them covering up Roberto Clemente's number and putting an advertisement there. Now we're talking about something a little more intense, and that's a fan fell 20 feet from the top of the wall, and he was in the front row of the stands, ended up falling over the rails and onto the field of play, landing in the warning track. Game did get paused so that medical personnel could take them out. The last update we had was that the 20-year-old that did fall, Kevon Markwood, he is awake and alert and talking. Hack, what was your first thought when you heard about this? I see. When I first heard about it, I thought fan was going for a catch, lost their balance, fell over. It doesn't really look like that's the case.
No, and I mean, I feel bad that this is my first thought, and but I need to know how much you drank, what other things were going on, it's unfortunate that that's the world we live in, but that's the world we live in. And especially, I don't want to color Phillies fans as like bad fans or nothing, but we like to have fun in Philadelphia. We have a good time in those stands. So not every fan that maybe would fall over is due to what's the right word? Stadium deficiencies. Some of it might be our own self-deficiencies. So I just need to know a little bit more on the story before I'm willing to parse out blame. It's unfortunate, that I can say. Nobody goes to a baseball game thinking you're going to get hurt, seriously injured. But as far as the blame and speaking on things like that, until I would get more information on everything, I feel like we're all just guessing and speculating.
So here is the most up-to-date news as far as what happened. They did talk to multiple people seated around him. They said that he didn't do anything of noteworthy when he was in the stands. That they said that on the base hit that happened, he had just jumped up excited, but kind of launched forward. My thinking is maybe he went to put his hands on the 3 feet railing to scream out over the top of the railing and maybe missed the railing and fell off, because the video footage kind of made it look like that. But according to records, he's 20 years old. He had 2 beers at the game. He did not purchase the beers at the game. Someone he was with legally purchased 7 beers. He consumed 2 of them. But again, the other alerts around him people around him said that he may have been intoxicated. That's kind of up in the air. Either way, it's sad. Kids awake though. Kids, moving around. He's talking. A long road to recovery for him. Exactly, Tony. Yeah, that's exactly what I had too. It was, like I said, 2 beers at the game. Like I said, one of the people he was with legally bought 7 beers while they were there. So who knows? But do you think this is going to lead to further? Like I said, we already added nets all the way down first and third baselines in order to help with fan safety on foul balls. Do you think there's going to be additional requirements for fans in the future? Maybe not this year or next year, but do you think this could kind of start a conversation?
It could, but you have to be careful because fans like catching foul balls. There has to be a mix between. I'm gonna go with the report. Okay, he had 2 beers. This sounds like an accident, so we shouldn't jump the gun on an accident. Accidents happen.
Yeah, see, this isn't something that's happening often. Kind of like we talked about earlier in the season with fan interference. The last year or so, we've had a couple of big-time incidents, but over the last, say, 20 years or so, it really has only happened 3 times, notably, I don't think that's enough for there to be a change implemented, and I think this is the exact same situation. But I think if we start seeing this happen more often, I think there could be a change in alcohol sale rules. There could also be a change as far as fan safety, where who knows what it could be. But I think that it may be in the conversation here in the future. But we're glad that he's okay. Everybody's fine. And hopefully offer him a full recovery. But we're going to keep on moving because we got a busy show and we got 33 minutes to fit it all in. So next up, we're going to talk about this right now, the current league leaders. I did not update a couple of these, so you got to forgive me on that. But right now, like I said, the average leader, we got Aaron Judge. He's sitting the 432 average right now. Hack, that is absolutely insane. The highest batting average any Yankees ever had this far into the season post-April. He's absolutely on a tear right now. RBI leaders, again, is Aaron Judge and Teoscar Hernandez at 33. Ignore the graphic. That's my bad. I did not change a couple of these. And then, of course, like I said, with ERA, we got Yamamoto at 0.90. He's under 1 ERA for the season. As far as strikeouts go, Mackenzie Gore, he pitched today, I believe, had 7 strikeouts against the Reds in their win today. But before today's game, he had 59. He was 3 up on Zach Wheeler. And then we got Max Fried, who's actually no longer tied for the wins leader. He's actually in sole first place in the wins column with 6. And as far as the home run leaders go, I think I forgot to mention Cal Raleigh is the sole home run leader at 12, with Judge close behind at 11. Do any of these who surprised you the most on this leaderboard?
I guess I'd go the strikeout leader. I did not see Mackenzie Gore. I think you can make a case. Cal Raleigh, the people that know me outside of this podcast and in fantasy baseball know I love this man. So, and Aaron Judge is close behind him. And I think Aaron Judge competing for the Triple Crown, that's not a surprise. I think Yamamoto is living up to the hype. It's just sometimes it takes a year to get to where people project you to be. He's now where he's at. And the wins leaders, it's not crazy to me to think Max Fried could have taken the lead on the Yankees. He was a Cy Young caliber pitcher, but Mackenzie Gore has come out of nowhere. Like, I know some people liked him as a sleeper pitcher this season, but you're leading the league. You're leading MLB in strikeouts. And it's not like he's a one-trick strikeout pony. He's pitching this year. He's taking a step, and it sucks as a Phillies fan to see. I'll talk about him more later, but like, that's a surprise to me for all these people.
Yeah, he definitely needs some run support because right now he's got a 2-3 record, but his ERA is a 3.33. After his start today, he has 68 strikeouts. Now he got 9 strikeouts today. What really stands out for me is his opening day start against the Phillies. He came out with 13 strikeouts, and later on in the season had a second 13 strikeout game. I can't recall who that was against. Mackenzie Gore is a stud. Remember last year, I was really high on Josiah Gray. He's supposed to come back later this season. If you got Mackenzie Gore and then Josiah Gray coming back to the starting rotation, you're going to have a nasty second half in Washington. I don't want to get too much into the Nationals as like I said, we are digging in a little deeper to the NL East here in a little bit. But going forward, these are your current division leaders. These I definitely did update, so you can look at these and feel good about this. But in the West, we got the Seattle Mariners and the Dodgers both in the divisional lead. The Mariners have a 2.5 game lead. Hack, take a quick wild guess about who's in second place in the AL West right now. It's a team we're going to talk about later today. That's your hint. Yes. Well, not Oakland. Oakland, Sacramento, Vegas A's is what we're going to call them. But yes, the Sacramento Athletics are officially in second place in the NL West, 2.5 games behind the Mariners. The Rangers are 3. So like I said, the A's, man, they're finding ways to win, and they're doing it right. The Dodgers have finally regained the lead in the NL West, followed by 1.5 games. Behind them is the Padres, and then we got the Giants in third place in that division. In the Central, we got the Tigers still leading the way. The Cubs are still leading the way with one of the hottest offenses in the game. Today, they ended up losing 4-0. As I'm talking about their offense, they did get shut out this afternoon. They did, unfortunately, lose Shota Imanaga to a hamstring injury. He was covering first base, came up a little bit lame. He said he has never had a lower body injury before, so he doesn't know the feeling. So they're not sure if it's a hamstring pull or something more serious. They're going to do x-rays tomorrow. I know all Cub fans in Chicago are keeping their fingers crossed and hoping that he's only out for a couple of weeks. Back over to the East Coast, though, we got the Yankees still in the lead of the AL East, 2.5 games over Boston. And then in the NL East, which is what we're going to be doing a deep dive into today, is the New York Mets. 2.5 game lead over the Phillies. Let's take a quick look at the standings in the NL East. Like I said, we got the Mets, 22 wins. They're playing right now against who are they playing? Yeah, the Cardinals right now. What's the score of that game? I was watching it, but it was 4-4 before I came on the show. It is 4-5 going into the bottom of the 7th. Cardinals are up by 1 currently. Back as we look at the NL East, are you surprised that the Mets are having such a great start to the season, or with the offseason moves and the addition of Juan Soto? This is something you were kind of expecting with the Phillies' notorious slow starts in their past.
I mean, I think, yeah, I'm not shocked. I thought the Mets, you made the moves, you spent the money. They're getting the production. I think as a Phillies fan, it's scary because Soto hasn't been hot. We talked about that last week. Soto has not taken off, and they're this good. And this week, Atlanta looks better. Acuna's coming back. The Phillies are in a situation, but the Mets, 7-game lead. I feel like we're almost talking about the Phillies of last year. It was like, whoa, they're building up such a lead on these teams that can you catch them? And I don't know.
Well, hey, man, the Phillies are only 2.5 games back. They did hit a rough skid to end the month, but they have been hot this week. Like I said, they did they split the series, and they're going, who are they facing tomorrow? I had the Phillies schedule pretty much memorized because I knew we were going to be talking about them. I totally spaced. Yeah, they split with the Diamondbacks, had a crazy good game today, and they're playing. They're off tomorrow. Of course they are. Of course they're off tomorrow. But no, man, the Phillies, here's my question to you about the Phillies, though, all right? When I look at the lineup, they're still kind of figuring things out. I really liked the way that the lineup looked when they had Kyle Schwarber in the leadoff spot. Lately, they've had Bryson Stott, and today they had Trey Turner kind of rotating between those two. Do you like having Kyle Schwarber in the traditional cleanup spot with his power, or do you wish they put him back at the leadoff spot? Because I feel like the Phillies lineup goes better when he's leading the way.
I think when he's hot, this is the problem. As a Phillies fan, I've watched him hit so many solo home runs that if you say you put him in the 4-hole and you have players on for those home runs, it should equal more runs. That being said, if you don't have a leadoff hitter to take his spot, who's better than him? That's been the crux of everything. Personally, I like the Stott at leadoff. That's my preferred lineup.
Okay.
You've paid these players, and this is almost a softball philosophy. You know, we play softball. To me, Stott, Harper, Turner, Schwarber, Castellanos, they're your top 5 players. I don't care how you throw them up there. They have to be the first 5 batting. Get them up there.
You mentioned Trey Turner. He's batting .303 right now. He's got a 6-game hit streak right now. But as far as his defense has been, he's definitely not in the upper tier of defensive shortstops. You think he's got the 17th best or 13th worst, depending how you're looking at 13th worst defensive rating as far as fielding percentage. There's been a long history of successful hitters like he is moving from that shortstop position to an outfield position. Obviously, he's not going to take a designated hitter spot away from Kyle Schwarber. But do you think that the Phillies look at some point to upgrade defense at that shortstop position? Or do you think it's kind of like, hey, you take the bad with the good and you deal with the errors here and there for that 300 batting average and the steady power? Is that something that you kind of live with? Or do you think they try to maybe improve defensively and maybe move Turner to a less vulnerable position in the outfield like the Pirates did with O'Neal Cruz or the Padres with Fernando Tatis?
I guess a lot of that answer depends on Adam Miller. and the progression of who plays short after Trey Turner, or if you move Stott to short, who plays second after Stott. But just moving him, my only issue with this conversation is: do you talk about moving Ellie De La Cruz to the outfield?
Well, actually, it was funny. I was actually listening to this argument about this very same conversation, and that yes, defensive percentage wise, he has the worst fielding percentage. However, they were arguing that his fielding percentage is worse because of his athleticism and speed. He's able to get to balls other shortstops aren't able to, therefore making a tougher play look more routine. And that way the error is more like no other shortstop would have the ability to make that play, but he does. So it's like you would kind of take. Is that what I'm saying? Makes sense? Like I'm not on that kind of.
I hear that. I think that's a falsehood. I think that's an argument made to people that don't watch baseball. Yeah, and I don't mean that insultingly to anybody, but we've watched. I know you watch baseball games, and we've seen the deconstruction of an error. I've seen things that were errors my whole life be now called hits. So, like, they don't want to give an error on the play. MLB has been very clear. They're trying to give the least amount of errors possible because they want to raise batting averages. These guys already have a problem hitting 300 without a tough scorekeeper. So I hear that, but I don't believe that Ellie De La Cruz. I would have to go back and look at the scoring, but I just don't believe that you're getting errors on balls that nobody else gets to, and the scorekeeper is just like, oh, you got there, and I'm going to punish you for that.
Okay. Well,
but I watch plenty of errors that are like errors that somehow the scorekeeper's like, no, it's not an error. That guy's fast. It just.
No, I gotcha. But like back to my original question, as a fan, what do you want to see happen? Does his ability in the batter's box and on the base pass outweigh the occasional error that he's going to make? Or
yes,
do you want to see him make okay? So you're
I understand. I'll call this with Sosa, and I hope I'm wrong. Okay, so I hope I'm wrong on this. But with Sosa, I'll call it the backup quarterback theory. Everybody loves a backup quarterback. The backup quarterback always looks good. The backup quarterback always throws for a high completion percentage. The backup quarterback always is more competent than the starter till they become the starter. And you're all like, you have to be out there the whole time. And now we get to focus on your flaws. So, although this is not me saying Trey Turner's perfect, I think he's a flawed shortstop. It's just how many shortstops in the MLB do you want above him? I'd argue I can't get you more than 10. And there's 32 teams. So are you like throwing out the baby with the cradle, with the bathwater, whatever that expression is. But like you have to I don't. It's been like with the Phillies, and we'll get into this later. Well, actually, we're on the NL East now. So, like in Philadelphia right now, we're having arguments about our team. Well, replace Alec Bohm. Okay, replace him. Get me a third baseman that's available that's better than Alec Bohm. You can't really do that. You can't find a better shortstop than Trey Turner. You can't find a better second baseman than Bryson Stott on the free agent or on the trade block. It's sometimes, as much as it sucks to take it on the chin, you got to take it on the chin.
I guess for me, it's the length of his, what was it? It was a 11, 13-year contract for Trey Turner. I mean, he's getting up there in age. I think he's got, 9 years left on the deal. Do you think that you're going to end up really hating the way the deal was laid out here in 4 or 5 years?
Yes. And but I also think that's true with, okay, perfect world. He'll go to left field like Altuve did for the Astros.
Right.
but we don't always live in a perfect world. So, like, sometimes you make these contracts and you get stuck. If we won the World Series against Houston, nobody cares about any of this. If we won the World Series when we messed up against Arizona and had the 3-1 lead, nobody cares about his contract. It's only every year we don't win the World Series, that contract looks worse and worse.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like for me, I think he's the third best shortstop in the division. I think you got Francisco Lindor. I think CJ Abrams is close on his tails. He's having an absolute fantastic season for the Nationals. You know, he's got 4 home runs in the season so far. He's already got six stolen bases. The last 2 years, he's had over 30 on the bases, and his fielding percentage, he's over 99% effectiveness on the fielding as far as defensively. You know, the Nationals are the team that I think it might be the team to beat in the next 4 to 5 years in the NL East. They're absolutely loaded with young talent. We were talking about Mackenzie Gore earlier, Josiah Gray coming back later. Their rookies, was it James Wood, is looking absolutely fantastic this season, showing off power numbers like crazy. And then you got Dylan Cruz, who started off cold. He's been a little cold of recent, but there in the middle of April, he was starting to finally get his bat going, showing off some pop. You know, I think the Nationals have a very bright future, and I think CJ Abrams is going to be a focal point of that team for many years to come. Do you think the Nationals have what it takes to kind of, obviously they're not that far off of their last World Series. Do you think the Nationals are the team to beat more so than Atlanta even this year?
I think they have a promising future. I still like Atlanta. But I do see why people in Washington are excited. 2 young, good pitchers. You have Dylan Cruz and James Wood. CJ Abrams, I need to see the maturity. I hear what you're saying about the talent. I remember last year him getting sent down to the minors the last month of the season because him and the coach got into issues and to recalibrate his attitude. So I want to see more of a team leader, especially because you are the youngest, best player until Woods and Cruz pass you. But they can be dangerous. I think their window is more the next 2 years, not this year. Atlanta's the one this year that I'm really looking at. They've been hot. Acuna's coming. I think Atlanta is the New York Mets of this year, of last year. Last year's New York Mets this year.
See, I want to agree with you because the talent on the roster alone is definitely there. But when I look at Atlanta, they ended April the right way, winning 9-12 to end the month. But they've lost 3 in a row. Obviously, go against the Dodgers. They're winning tonight 4-1 last time I checked. But they've lost 3 games in a row to the Dodgers. Their schedule is not going to get any easier. Their ace, Chris Sale, has an ERA just under 5. I don't know if the just returning of Acuna, I think, is going to, I think it's going to definitely inspire the offense. I think we're going to see a little bit more of a Braves team that we're used to. But if the pitching does not get better, they are not. It doesn't matter what Acuna does because they're giving up 5 runs a game right now. And their offense, Acuna is not going to give you 2 runs a game when he comes back. He's probably going to be responsible for 1 run a game, as he should be. And they need offense from somewhere else, or they need someone in the pitching staff to step up if they're going to be competitive in the East this year, especially with New York, Philadelphia, and even the Nationals kind of doing their thing. Even Miami, they're winning late games. They just walked it off last night against the A's on a walk-off grand slam. They're looking for they have moments and stretches where the Miami team looks like they can beat anybody they play every single day. So the NL East will be interesting. Who do you think at this point in the season, looking at how the team is performing, who do you think takes the division at the end of the season?
I'm gonna go with Atlanta. As much as that hurts me, I want to pick Philly, but I watched them and I'm not. The bullpen, the starters are great. I think New York, I love what they're starting out hot, but it's almost like similar to the Astros. I think this year Atlanta's going to get their starters back and they'll fix it.
Well, hey, we're going to definitely dive into the NL East again later on in the season. Next week, we're going to go into the AL West, take a look at the Seattle Mariners, the Rangers, the A's who are in second place, the Astros, and the Angels. So, like I said, that's who we're going to look at. That's the division we're going to look into more next week. But that's it for the NL East this week. Hack, it's been a pleasure talking to you with NL East, but we're going to jump into our next segment. And the next segment we're going to talk about is near and dear to Hack's heart, and we're going to talk about our Mount Rushmores of the Oakland Athletics. Hack, I'm going to go first. I'm going to let you go second. I'm going to show up my Mount Rushmore first. Take a look at it. Last week's graphics, terrible. This week's graphics, fire. Put some fire emojis on the screen. But no, for me, this was easy. I think between our lists, we might age ourselves just a little bit. But like I said, as far as the difference between who our players are. But for me, it's definitely the first spot is going to be Reggie Jackson, 1993 Hall of Famer, 563 career home runs. He played for the Oakland Athletics in 1973 when he won the American League MVP. They also won the World Series that year, and he won a World Series MVP as well. And folks in the chat, please put who is on your Oakland Athletics Mount Rushmore. Put 1 name, put 4 names, put 100 names. Throw them in the chat. Let's see if we missed anybody that you folks like. Next up, you got Mark McGwire. Most people think of Mark McGwire with the St. Louis Cardinals, hitting bombs and banging moms and all that good stuff. But before that, he was with the Oakland Athletics for 13 seasons, 86 through 97. He had 583 career home runs, and in his 87 rookie year with the A's, he won Rookie of the Year and hit 49 home runs. That's a stat that is crazy to think about. In his rookie season, hitting almost 50 bombs. He had 118 RBIs, and he was a World Series champion in 1989 when they had the Bay Bridge Series against the San Francisco Giants. He was a 12-time All-Star, and 8 of those with the Oakland Athletics. Then we got the name that probably people are surprised to see on this list, which is Eric Chavez. He has 6-time Gold Gloves. He won all 6 of them back to back. From 2001 to 2006, he was the only third baseman to win a Gold Glove in the American League in that time. He also received MVP votes in 4 straight seasons, and he is an Oakland A's Hall of Famer. And last but not least, this is a name that everybody knows, everybody loves, and that's Rickey Henderson. 2009 Hall of Fame inductee, 10-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champion. He won with the 89 A's and the 93 Blue Jays. I always forget that he played with the Blue Jays, and not only played with, won a World Series with the Blue Jays. He had 100-plus stolen bases 3 times and 1,406 career steals, a number that we will probably never see beaten or even come close to. And then he also won the 1990 MVP. So my Mount Rushmore for the Oakland Athletics is going to be Reggie Jackson, Mark McGwire, Eric Chavez, and Rickey Henderson. Hack, before we go on to your list, what do you think of my list?
I mean, I like it. I can't argue with. We have different players other than one. I think Eric Chavez.
Hey man, shows my age, bro. He was the third baseman.
And like McGwire to me isn't an A.
But that's the thing. He only played 6 years in St. Louis. He played 13 in Oakland. Like he's more. I know that.
Like I get that. I guess that's more the player, not his career. I just feel like he left Oakland and didn't return to it. Like, but that's just another day. Like here's a little sneak peek. Mark McGwire's not on any of my Mount Rushmores.
That's it's
crazy.
Think about it. We had Ken Griffey Jr. on the Mariners Mount Rushmore last week. He went to Cincinnati. I mean, yeah, he did come back. What was it, 2009, and like finish up in Seattle. So I guess maybe that gives him a little bit of a little bit. I'm going to say this
about Seattle: they don't have championship. And when we get into Mayan, we'll see that a little bit more. But like Seattle, no World Series is. So like already your Mount Rushmore's weak sauce because there's no World Series champion.
You know, which is crazy though, is that if you put an all-time Seattle Mariners like lineup against any other team's all-time lineup, they're going to compete. That's the crazy thing to me. Is like the Mariners, and again, we're not spending too much time on the Mariners, but the Mariners had some ballers. You know, like their history, they could put a lineup up with anybody. But no, Hack, let me flip the switch. Let me flip the switch here, and let's get to your Mount Rushmore. All right, let's see what era yours are from.
Yeah, we'll go old.
We're gonna go old.
We'll go with the oldest first. Bert Campanelis. He leads the A's in games played and their hits. Like he ushered in their first World Series. So I think that's an Oakland favorite right there. The next one, Dennis Eckersley. Until Mariano Rivera existed, this was the best relief pitcher in baseball. I don't think I'm wrong here. I need to do a little bit more, but he won a Cy Young as a reliever and a starter. It's his accomplishments as a pitcher are crazy. And if you're not of a certain age, you won't notice how good of a relief pitcher this man was. The next one, definitely my age. Raleigh Fingers is like, he is Mr. Oakland A's. All right, the stash, just the face. If you're a certain age, you know who Raleigh Fingers is, and he is the definition of an A. Also, I want you to know that everybody that I'm mentioning has a World Series title, unlike a Mr. Mark McGwire.
He has a World Series title. He won a World Series in 1989, my friend.
I'm sorry.
World Series champion.
Then we're going to go to Mr. A. Ricky Henderson Field. Let me get that on the camera. They named the field after the man, the greatest leadoff hitter to ever step foot in a Major League Baseball stadium, the greatest stolen base king. He is. I am biased here because he's my favorite baseball player, so I don't have enough superlatives or whatever that word is, enough compliments. I wear 24 because of this man. 1406, the amount of stolen bases he has. That he has more than that. That's the number that broke the record. Nobody will steal half that amount in their career coming up. It is. I'm glad you had him on your Mount Rushmore because he's on my Mount Rushmore of Mount Rushmores. It is. The A's are a great team, and I'm going to give an honorable mention because although the Phillies are my team, this was my team because of Ricky Henderson growing up. There was another pitcher, Dave Stewart, who pitched when Ricky Henderson won the World Series. This man's death stare, when he would stare at the batter, would be enough to make you just know that, like, I'm not getting a hit against this man. It was great. It was great. I love your list, but there's some guys on your list that left. And like you said, I didn't even know Ricky Henderson won the World Series in Toronto. Yeah, I was like, my A's Mount Rushmore is Oakland through and through. They didn't leave Oakland and become famous. They came to Oakland and became famous. Like, but I do respect your list. It's just, they would go like underneath Bert and Dennis and Raleigh. And Ricky would stand upon himself, with himself.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if Ricky Henderson made this list, he would put Ricky, and Ricky all on his.
I would agree.
Yeah, I know you would. If I would have let you do that, you would have just put Ricky on all four heads.
Yeah.
You know, actually, that's a great idea. When we're done with the Major League Baseball team Mount Rushmores, we should definitely do our Major League Baseball Mount Rushmore. I think that would be interesting. But no, that's our Oakland Athletics Mount Rushmores. Give your opinions in the chat. Who do we miss? Who do we give too much credit to? Whose list is better? But we have a couple minutes left, and I put together a little something for you, and I call it this or that. Let's take a quick little look here. This or that. So the point of this or that is just that. I'm going to show you two top four hitters in two lineups, and you're going to tell me which one of these lineups you would rather have, or which one of these statistics you'd rather have in your first four hitters of your lineup, at which point then I'm going to then reveal who these teams are and we're going to then discuss the same thing and find out if we feel the same way. So Team A, Team Mystery A, the leadoff hitters hitting 250 on the season with 5 home runs, 11 RBIs. Where Team B's leadoff hitters hitting 272, a little less power, but more runs driven in. And go ahead and look through the numbers yourself. Obviously, the highest batting average is on Team B. That's at 303 in the 2 spot. And the highest batting average on Team 1 is the 3rd hitter with that 277. But heck, if you're looking at these two teams, what kind of calls out to you the most?
I mean,
I know, I made it difficult.
This one's a good one. I think it's what you value. I probably, as much as it's hard for me to take the table setting of lineup B, because 272 and 303, you're getting guys on base for your 3 and 4 hole hitters. But I would probably go lineup A because I'm getting power and production. I don't really care if you hit the ball a lot. I care that when you hit, you're doing things. And everybody in that lineup is 11 RBIs or better. I'm getting power. I'm going to probably take lineup A.
Okay. And drum roll, please. I'm going to do my own drum roll. The teams are the Athletics and the Phillies, both second place in their division teams. But yeah, let's take a look at it one more time here. Those are the statistics. I didn't figure you would guess. I wanted to use two teams that we talked about today, obviously your Phillies and the A's that we just did the Mount Rushmore for. But when you look, are you surprised?
No.
No surprise.
Not at all.
Yeah, I thought I would surprise you on this one.
I think that you used a better Phillies because that's what started the leadoff, correct?
Correct. Yeah, it's with their more recent lineups with Stott, Turner, Harper, and Schwarber. Yes.
I think I stand on my business right there. Although the names might be worse in Oakland, I will take the Oakland top 4. At this point in the season. At this point, like if we're talking career, I picked the wrong lineup. But if we're talking 2025 right now, the Oakland A's they're good. They're on fire right now.
Yeah, and then that lineup is made up, of course, of Lawrence Butler, Brent Rooker, Soderstrom, and Langeliers in the catcher spot. Like I said, that top 4, that's a dangerous top 4. I don't know if you have any of those guys in fantasy, but they're putting up numbers this season. They're the reason why the A's have a winning record. They're in second place in the division. Mason Miller, they just blew a win to the Marlins. Mason Miller gave up a walk-off grand slam on like 101 mile an hour fastball. But if you take that walk-off loss away from yesterday, they're one game out of the division. I mean, it's been a while. It's been a few years since the A's have been this competitive this late in the season, and they're starting to look like buyers, not sellers, come the trade deadline.
Yes.
And
I don't think they were ever going to be sellers. I think we talked about this last year, that when they didn't sell Rooker and Miller to any team, they were like, we're going to Vegas to win, not to suck.
That's true. They said they made they signed a lot of, they put a lot of their younger guys on big contracts this offseason, really laying the foundation for that move to Vegas here in a couple of years. Obviously, like I said, with the A's playing in Sacramento, some of the players on other teams not too happy about playing in a minor league stadium again. You're not hearing too much though on the athletic side, which I think is a great for the culture. They're kind of embracing where they have to be for the rest of the season and for the next couple of years, and I think that's great to see. But that's kind of it for our week, guys. We said we recapped the week, all the big time news. We talked about the A's Mount Rushmore. We went over the standings, the stats. We went over everything. Heck, what do you want to say to the people before we let them get on with their Sunday evening and we get on with ours?
Get your pick. Who we doing? Angels? Or what do we got left? Angels or
Rangers, Astros. Angels, Rangers, or Astros. Let's do the Rangers. Next week, we'll do the Rangers Mount Rushmore, and we're going to talk to the AL West. We'll do a deep dive in the AL West next week, and then we'll do the Mount Rushmore for the Texas Rangers. and that should kind of help us take care of that part of the division. But folks, we appreciate you tuning in with us. Please throw a like, throw a heart, share, comment, like, subscribe. Just hit up our website. We got merch now official on the website at www.wiretowire.sports.live. And that's the heat for this week. We came up and in, and we ain't sorry. Until next time, keep your eye on the seams and your spikes high. We're out.
See you.
Yo, and you need to wake up and get to work.
Broken bat. Somehow Yorgo avoided the bat.
You need to wake up and get to work.
Pulled down to third.
Get to work.
Yeah.
Get to work.
Again, Watson, here comes the stop. The throw, not in time. The Phillies winning.
Get to work.
Body climb, move fast in the fast lane. Bring young gasoline in the gas tank. Still true, still ain't a damn thing change. I can get no I breeze down the I-5 with my shades on. Walk away what they say from the iPhone. Hate the sound discounted like a good train. Pay attention, can expect a refund. I get it, I got it, I get it. I be the one really spitting. Now you must be really kidding. Goddamn it, where is it spinning? Goddamn it, where's the pride? I be like, damn it, when I show up in the artist starting to hide. Y'all got me on another level. Foot all the way down on the pedal. I can't settle. Y'all rap so mellow, so I'm bringing out the ghetto. Bring the pedal to the metal line. Catch myself move fast in the fast lane.
You're killing me, Smalls.